7 reasons to quit keto and low carb, and I'm going to tell you number 7 will surprise you. So we're going to go through these one at a time in my series. We're going to talk about keto and weight loss, heart health, nutrition deficiency concerns, GI problems, inflammation, cancer, and then we'll get to number 7. But let's start off with weight loss. A lot of people think keto is the ultimate weight loss plan. And this study did a real good job at putting them head to head. They had 17 overweight men in a very controlled environment, and 4 weeks they're on a higher carb diet, probably similar to the 7 Systems plan, but not as good. And following that 4 weeks, they switched to keto for 4 weeks, and then they compared the results. And here's what happened. On the higher carb diet, you can see weight loss went down nicely, but it slowed down a bit. And then when they switched to keto, look what happened. The weight loss took off. Here's what the study showed, though. Body fat loss slowed during the ketogenic diet. Here it is. This is fat loss, pretty good and steady. Look at how it slowed, and yet weight went down. Now, if weight went down and fat slowed down, what are we probably losing? Yeah, fluids and maybe some muscle mass there. In fact, fat loss slowed down by half when they switched to keto. There was a theory that there was increased fat storage and decreased burning due to the high triglyceride count that occurs when you're on a ketogenic diet. They thought maybe it was stimulating adipose tissue to take up more fat, storing more, and inhibited adipocyte lipolysis, which is burning fat. So ketogenics in general can fool the brain temporarily. Using protein and fat as a high part of the diet can cause satiety, which can help you eat less food. But after a while, your gut hormones and other factors start getting involved, and you slow down your resting energy expenditure. Now that's your metabolism. So if your metabolism slows down, eventually it's going to trigger your body to come bring your weight back up. So does losing weight slow down your metabolism? Absolutely, is what this study showed. In fact, every pound lost, every pound that you lose, can help you burn 7 calories less per day if you're losing weight incorrectly. Now, there's always a little bit of a slowdown in your metabolism when you lose weight, but some diets make it slow down much more. And if you look at the studies on The Biggest Loser, they looked at their metabolism in significant detail. And what did they find? After 6 weeks, they are burning 244 calories less per day. After 30 weeks, they are burning 516 calories less per day. Now, is that going to make it a little harder to keep that weight off? Absolutely. They went on to look to see what happened years after, in fact, 6 years after they completed the Biggest Loser competition, and what did they find? Their resting energy expenditure was still 500 calories less per day. So it wasn't a temporary thing that happened, it happened long term, which is why most of these participants gained all the weight back. So the metabolism slowed down, that's not good, but their appetite increased. Slower metabolism, increased appetite, you're going to have a lot of trouble sustaining weight loss. So I think there's better alternatives to ketogenic and low carb diets. This is Christy, who's a graduate of the 7 Systems plan. In 6 months, she lost 50 pounds. I want to encourage you to stick with a healthy diet plan that you can sustain long term, and I don't think there's a better health plan out there than the 7 Systems plan. We're continuing our discussion about keto diets and why I suggest you quit keto diets now. Number 2 reason is they impair epithelial function, and they do that in 3 hours. When you consume too much saturated fat, which it's very hard not to do when you're on a keto diet, it makes the lining of your blood vessels not function correctly. It decreases the flow through the blood vessels, and that happens 3 hours after you eat a meal that's too high in fat. Now let me show you what that looks like. This is a healthy artery. Your heart contracts, and when it does, your blood vessels should expand, and then when your heart relaxes, they should relax. Your blood vessels should move. If you've got stiff arteries or sick arteries, or you've eaten too much of the bad fats, those arteries remain stiff. And what does that do to your heart? It makes your heart work a lot harder. And it causes additional problems too. Eventually, this can lead to heart disease. Now, a few years ago, I had a coronary calcium score test done on my heart because I wanted to see what the 7 systems plan did to the blood vessels, and I scored a perfect 0. No calcium, no buildup in my heart, nice flexible blood vessels. When I find a lot of my patients, and a lot of people even in their 30s, have significant calcium deposits and stiffening of their blood vessels. So here's your action step. I want you to stick to a healthy eating plan to keep your heart and blood vessels healthy. The second reason I have you consider stopping keto is because of what it does to the blood vessels. The third reason is because of nutrient deficiencies. If you are just following a keto or low carb diet, you are very likely going to be low in 17 vitamins and minerals. So what if you just eat more food on a keto diet, eat more of the fats and proteins? Well, you're going to have to get up to 37,000 calories per day. It's just not possible. And there are cases where people have developed scurvy following a ketogenic diet and heart irregularities due to selenium deficiencies. So there can be a serious problem with not getting in the right nutrients. Your action step is to follow a good, healthy eating plan that supplies you with all of the vitamins and minerals your body needs, like the 7 systems plan. The fourth reason I suggest you quit keto and low carb diets is because of the associated GI problems. If you've ever done keto, you probably know there's a very good chance you're having constipation problems. Now, why would that be? Well, there's hardly any fiber in a low carb or ketogenic diet. And that's not good long term. One of the consequences of that is reduced species of microbiota. You get less bacteria in your colon, and that's a very serious problem. How long does it take for these changes to start occurring in your intestinal tract? It takes 24 hours. And in 24 hours, there's a significant difference because of the high-fat, low-fiber diet. And it's not just constipation problems. There also is an increased risk of the development of other gastrointestinal disorders. If you've been following the 7 systems plan, you know that fiber is extremely important. It's what the bacteria in your colon use for fuel. And if you don't give them that fuel, you're going to have significant problems. Your action step is to stick with a healthy eating plan that you can sustain long term. Keto diets just can't be maintained long term. And when you're on a healthy eating diet, you will maintain your gut microbiome, one of the most important things you can do to stay healthy. The fifth reason I suggest you quit keto and low carb is because of increased inflammation. When you take in too much fat, it affects the gut microbiome, and it can cause low-grade inflammation in your body. And I'm going to show you why. We know that your defense system is primarily located in your gut lymph tissue. Here's your gut. There's that gut lymph tissue. This defends your body from bacteria and viruses and all kinds of bad things. It's extremely important. But if you have the wrong bacteria or lack of bacteria in your intestinal tract, or you have leaky gut, or you're eating the wrong foods, you can be stimulating that gut lymph tissue to do things that it shouldn't do, like cause low-grade inflammation. If we follow a healthy eating plan with lots of fiber, that fiber goes through the small intestinal tract and clear down to the colon. And in the colon, fiber and bacteria react together. There's a fermentation process, and your body produces something called short-chain fatty acids. Those short-chain fatty acids benefit the colon, the intestinal tract, and your entire body, because they get into the circulatory system and help everything. On the other hand, if you're on a diet that's low in fiber, there is nothing to get down to the colon to feed the bacteria. So no short-chain fatty acids are produced. Chronic inflammation is likely, as well as all kinds of diseases that we have in America. Now, Cindy had chronic inflammation, and fixing her digestive system and her defense system helped her to lose 85 pounds and get rid of her joint problems. So here's your action step. I want you to stick with a healthy diet to prevent chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root of almost all disease, and we need to do everything we can to mitigate that. 7 reasons to stop keto and low carb diets now, and here's number 6, because of cancer. Now you might be thinking, well, cancer, that's supposed to be helped by ketogenic diets because cancer cells feed on carbs, and if you cut the carbs off, they die. But that's not what the studies show. In fact, you need to know that all the cells of your body eat carbs and eat sugar. That's how they survive. So you can also deplete some of your other cells doing that. Now, there is an alternate fuel source with keto diets. It's called ketones. When you restrict carbohydrates, your body produces ketones, but studies show ketones can fuel tumor growth and metastasis. They may promote breast cancer keto diets. And we know that prostate cancer is significantly higher when you take in too many saturated fats, which you most likely are doing on a ketogenic diet. On the other hand, good carbs decrease cancer mortality significantly. If you look right now, I think you're not going to find a single study that shows ketogenic diets benefit cancer patients or preventing cancer. So here's your action steps. I want you to stick with a healthy diet plan that is proven to decrease cancer risk, and hit the like or subscribe button to hear point number 7. 7 reasons to stop keto and low carb diets now, and here's number 7, the most significantly higher mortality risk. What's that mean? You're going to die a lot sooner if you're following one of these plans. Low carb diets were associated with a significantly higher risk of all causes of mortality. Animal fats and plant fats do not react the same in your body. If you're eating too many animal fats, you can have a 50% higher mortality risk. And on a ketogenic diet, you most likely are. There have been sudden cardiac deaths on people following keto diets. And here's a study from Lancet. Compared to those who ate the highest carbohydrate group, those who ate the lowest carbohydrates had a 32% higher risk of all causes of mortality. And that is because if you're following one of these keto plans, you have to eliminate or severely restrict 5 of the 10 most helpful food groups. So here's your action step. I want you to follow a healthy eating plan for optimal health and longevity, and get each of your body's 7 systems functioning optimally. And be sure and hit the like or subscribe button to hear tips like this.